Crooked Run West. Right?
Yep. What are you looking for here? I mean, we're not driving this thing.
It was
I
on
mean,
the goal. It was on the goal list, so that's what I'm saying. It was a big area. I don't really know. I mean, it's all set up. We're just to let you know, it's scheduled for August 26th, work session the following, the normal council meeting on August 26th. And I'm assuming after our discussion, council, it will be council's pleasure, but I'm assuming you would want to take it to vote at the first meeting.
I don't think it's gonna happen August 26th.
Why?
I just don't think they're gonna come back by then.
Okay.
So,
The other part of this, though, that still begs the question whether it's Crooked Run West or any other development out there is the water study, the water.
the water capacity, I mean, the staff needs to have I think you can still go through, we need to know what the facts are out there, our
Right.
capacity, or what other ramifications, in other words, what other modifications to our system would be required. You know, how much of our capacity are we willing to put out there?
Also, doesn't the developer, the proposed developer, doesn't the plans keep changing?
Yeah, that's my point.
Yeah, they're all over the place.
They have changed. Staff is currently working on what we call just the facts on capacity levels. Those are easy to come by. We have those already. Right now, what we're looking at is we do have some issues out there already in the corridor, and what impact those 1,000 units would be, and what infrastructure improvements we would have to do for it would not impact the rest of the part of the town. There are some improvements that most likely will have to take place, particularly at Guard Hill. So staff is addressing those issues as well, because we don't want to be short-sighted by always looking at the capacity side of what we can get out of the river, but we also got to look at what is going to impact our existing customer base. So they're looking at that. I'm hoping by the end of this week to have all those numbers together.
It'll be in relation to, so you throw 1,000 homes out. It's in relation to the development plan of those 1,000 homes. So in other words, not day one,
Right.
1,000 homes and what it does to our infrastructure.
Well, I think you need to look at further even than that. If you open the door up for one, you're gonna have to open the door up for the rest.
We already opened that door for a long time ago.
Not the rich, no, we didn't.
You didn't for residential, you didn't for the golf course?
That was one deal, but this was the MOU that we had.
Yeah.
Crooked Run
This is
now,
the second
and
year.
everything we've done is gonna be obsolete.
I'm just saying you already have opened up the door when you put water out to another subdivision.
So I don't think we need to, in my opinion, I think the title of that should not be Crooked Run West. The title of that should be supplying water for residential purposes out in 522. To me, that's the topic. Because I think first we got to determine, is that our policy? Do we want to do that? And if so, we're prepared to provide X gallons. I don't know, I'm just random.
Yeah, I like where you're going with that because, you know, I know that there's strong feelings on this both directions, but some of this was said in councils in past, and I think that we need to get to what's our capacity, what's our capability, do we have an appetite to do that, do we want to do that, and have that discussion again.
And stop screwing around these developers that, you know, these developers have come in and want to do business in Warren County with town services, water, and sewer. You know, if we had our policy in place and said, look, we're only prepared to provide X number of gallons out in the 522 corridor, then
But we do have that in place. Okay? We got all that in place already.
how much are we going to provide, are we willing to provide? No more?
Well,
residential.
The run area was
For residential.
30,000 gallons.
Residential.
The rest of it, there's been a moratorium on the residential ever since we did the 1998 annexation agreement.
Well, that 20 years is up.
That's,
No, there was no time limit on that.
It was 20 years if I'm not mistaken, am I
No,
right?
it wasn't.
Yeah, I think it was.
No, it wasn't.
So,
I think that, I understand what you're saying, Gene. What I'm saying is I think that this council wants to discuss it.
Well, okay, that's fine. I mean, I'm just one person.
So we're really talking about water service capacity for the corridor.
Yeah,
Be it
what
commercial
that
or
means-
residential.
Yeah, what that means, because number one, just as a non-starter, like, if what we've committed to today within the town, where we want to go with our growth, it's impossible for us to do that, then we know what our policy is, we can't do that. But if there is capabilities and we're deciding if it's commercial, residential, whatever, then I would like to get that to be a little bit more definitive.
Look, I'm here to tell you right now, there's been councils in the past, many years ago in the past, that did everything they could to prevent any kind of growth outside of town limits and using our services. And I think we need to reevaluate that policy and that philosophy.
Well, I think the problem is that they weren't able to control the growth in them areas. And I feel the same way. If we were to annex that area, able to control the growth, then I'd be more inclined to provide, wouldn't have any choice. But as it stands right now,
That's fine. I'm not saying we need to come up with policy tonight, but I think we just need to give some direction to the business community.
because the county's gonna come to us every time somebody throws them a little bait, they're gonna come to us for water and sewer. If we do this up there, if we do that out there, got me going out, Crooked Run West. It'll happen, again and again and again. And they're gonna say, well, you did it here, you did it there, so why not do it, now? I would like to see us, if we're gonna get into supplying water and sewer in them areas, I would like to see us annex it, boundary adjustment, whatever, so we can control the growth. I know Gene's not for it, but it'll solve all the problems. That's my opinion.
So-
Comment.
Thank you.
You'll never be able to.
Jellyfish.
Let me put this, you can't afford it.
Jellyfish. Look, we can't.
Okay.
Jellyfish.
Jellyfish, yeah. So the goal is to determine water capacity for the corridor by,
Well, I think water capacity and water policy. Now,
we already
Gene's right.
have a policy
Gene's right.
in the code that addresses that, which takes, first step is, do you annex it? Do you do a boundary adjustment? And I can't remember the other steps, but there's like 4 or 5 steps that's in the code.
Can we look at that in conjunction with the capacity? Let's look at capacity, what we have, so that everybody has the facts. Let's look at our policy and see if our policy still meets that desire.
We can annex it.
Well, that might be the first step of it.
So we can determine water capacity for the corridor. We're working on that already.
You also need, not only water capacity, but what other upgrades in order to support water in the corridor?
Water capacity improvements. Water capacity and improvements. Improvements for additional service in the corridor. Right.
Speaking of that, when are we supposed to get that information from our engineer, CJ, on $12 million line that parallel?
August 26th. We're coming August 26th, to be following the regular council meeting. They have completed their preliminary engineering review, and we will determine what the next steps are.
Why isn't 10 and 12 combined?
What? 10 and 12?
10 and 12.
Why would that be?
8 and 10.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Because they're really two separate projects. One does not depend on the other, in my.
Okay, we're talking about water, I was just trying
Yeah.
to put it together.
Okay, so we're good? We're gonna go lightning round here pretty soon?
Yep.
How many have we hit? 8.
It's not bad. Code enforcement, number 9, and number 14, property maintenance, connected. Are these?
I think they don't like combining them. Remember, one's like your grass height and one isn't.
Oh, is that the case?
Yeah, I remember reading
Okay.
about last meeting.
Just making sure we're talking about two separate things.
I mean, code enforcement, what's our goal in code enforcement? Enforce the code?
Honestly, I had trouble. That's why it says goal areas, because some of the area was so broad, I didn't know what direction.
Tell us who put that on there, Joe, so we can.
Yeah, Joe.
Chris,
Oh, you're right.
Sign it, let's go.
I honestly, I don't know.
It wouldn't be.
Maybe if.
Take it off.
No, did it have to do with the conversation of, I know we were talking about what we were addressing, kind of the methodology of how we're addressing what we're addressing within the town, enforcement of it, the time spent doing that. I'm just not sure what the goal of it was.
I know that when we were talking about this, I did have Jeremy Camp come and talk to council about the inspection process, some of the stats, and their proactive approach. And I was hoping that would address some of the concerns of council, but
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
Fine on that.
Unless y'all need to, I think.
Well, are we
I'm good.
talking about connected with going down to the property maintenance, or are we talking about code enforcement of a pre-existing town?
That's why I asked the question. I thought it was the pre-existing. I think this one references the pre-existing town.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
And I think we need to be proactive. Anything that's in violation of code ought to be immediately taken care of, period. By any department, police or zoning or whatever. I mean, if we're gonna get to that point.
I wouldn't waste paper on it.
yeah, that's a standard. That should be our marching order already.
I agree, but it's not being done.
We can't catch them all, Gene.
I know that, but we mentioned, see what we see.
Or didn't we just get an email about,
Yes, sir, and I did apologize to that citizen that I did not respond back to him, but staff has been working on that. And that citizen has been contacted both by me and by my staff. But I did apologize for that citizen, but we were working on it. My fault was that I did not let that citizen know. I assumed my staff would have contacted that citizen, but they didn't, but I did apologize.
and you're gonna make that adjustment with staff to make sure that they understand that
Yes, sir.
responses are needed?
Yes, sir.
But
You know,
we only have one guy, right?
unfortunately, sometimes things fall through the crack, and I apologize, and I apologize to that citizen as well, but, you know, unfortunately, it fell through the crack.
And Joe, we only have one guy going out checking, if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah,
already.
yeah.
So
We
you
have
can't
one
catch everybody. I mean,
All right, number 10,
Number 10.
Route 522 corridor water redundancy project. What's the goal?
The goal, obviously, we've got it set up. We're coming with the PER on August 26th. That will dictate what our next steps are and how much we're going to have to invest. So I'm not 100% sure. That's already a goal established, and we've got a set date on August 26th. I don't know.
This is
how much-
something that essentially over a period of time is self-funding anyways, right?
Yeah.
It's gonna pay for itself.
Okay, anything to discuss?
One part of this I just wanted to discuss was that was predicated on the reduced utilization of Dominion using less water. Is that correct?
No, actually, Dominion, they signed a contract with the town, and they had set rates for 5 years, and after 5 years, it started gradually going up. With that gradual increase on their rate, we'll actually fund this project as we move forward with the additional revenues from that. You'll see from Dominion.
Okay.
Okay, project budgets, number 11.
Okay.
I don't see how this,
yeah, that should be like,
how we're gonna be able to do this without knowing.
The EDA stuff.
This just seems like the vicious cycles topic.
One of the things that me and BJ are working on right now, some that the mayor's tasked us with, is all these encumbered funds and POs that are outstanding. We're currently evaluating and drilling down on staff to find out what projects are still current and can the funds be released. I am personally tasking staff to justify the outstanding balances on all these POs. We are hoping, what date did we commit, BJ?
September, I believe it was the second work session.
Second work session, we were trying to gear towards be able to have a full detailed list of every encumbered outstanding PO and if we can release it or does it have to stand? And we're taking a very hard look at that to make sure that there are no available funds out there that we can use for other measures such as PD financing or legal fees for the EA or whatever else. But we are looking at it very hard to try to allocate some additional funding. Now, I know that's a little separate than the project budgets that Matt's been talking about, but it's kind of part of that first phase.
I think when this was initially discussed, maybe it was like, you know, I$, $1 million.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Happy Creek, blank
I
dollars.
think we broke them down.
Streets, blank dollars, you know, and just trying to understand the appetite the council has versus what we can actually spend money on.
So you want to detail list? Well, yeah.
I think
But this is going off, I assumed this was something that Matt was bringing up about changing budget philosophy.
Well, that's part of it. In other words, if Joe were to ask you, name the projects that we have for the next 5 to 10 years and how much it's going to cost, your prioritized list, I don't know that we have that.
Our POs.
We can create it. It's not there
Right, I
yet,
agree.
but we can create it.
And I
And
think
maybe
it's
that's the
important-
goal.
I think it's important for us to have visibility on that, to say, okay, is this really a project? No, a good example, what do you guys call it? The connector road? What was that? The project over there by,
West Bay Connector.
West Main Connector, is that still in motion? Do we still, are we pulling the funds off that?
Is
that dead?
Funds were pulled.
Oh, look at me.
Well, I'm just, right?
Jake's
We
idea.
already done it.
We may have to pay
It was a
all
good
that money
idea.
back.
Right.
We might be looking at about 600,000, we gotta pay back to the
Then that's
state.
gonna affect the budget.
Big time.
Right.
Big time.
That's why I said this was a vicious cycle.
Would you all like to have this overall project list with cost and time schedules?
I think so, that'd be nice.
When you think y'all
When?
get,
Oh, when?
November 30th?
No, I think that if you give us to the second meeting in September, we can provide this as well as the encumbered funds, because that's where this is hinging on.
Okay, that's fine.
So, second meeting in September.
Be great.
So the 19th.
Jay, you can go to sleep.
There's 174 people behind me.
A lot of stuff due in September.
Second week of September.
Yeah.
Go ahead and put
September
it
15th,
in. Figure out the date.
September 30th.
Yeah, I'll say September 30th, but with the goal of bringing it to the second
Together.
work session.
We'll be
Get the
fine.
budget ordinance here in the next couple of weeks for overtime.
Who's going to champion this?
I'll try.
Anything else on project budgets?
Nope. 12, compensation study.
I thought this was done, to be honest with you. I thought we've done year 1, year 2, we've implemented the merit increase program, and we're waiting to do year 3 as part of the budget.
That's all that's going to be in the budget this year, Jeff?
Excuse me?
Compensation year 3, is that going to automatically be in the budget this year, right?
We will include it as recommended by council, and the council can make a determination of the overall. This will be our 3rd year of funding the compensation study.
Okay, so scratch through that one.
We made the commitment, we need to stick with it.
Yeah.
And, in my opinion,
I'm firm with that. I mean, we spent the money on it, the time, the effort, the job descriptions, everything, and pulling back from our employees would be bad.
So that's up. Old Town Hall. I think
Town.
that was mine. I think it'd be good for council to give staff, or for all of us, what do we want to see take place? Do we just want to allow it to continue to rot?
Well, I thought we were gonna set up a meeting.
Yeah.
That's in motion, but what's the end result here? I know there was some,
Well, I think it's a shame to see it sit there and just fall apart. I mean, that was town hall. I mean, it used to be the fire department. A lot of people don't know that.
Nope.
I think it's a dumb idea to get rid of it anyway. I would like to, if we could take it back, don't know. I
Okay.
don't even know if we can do that, so.
Well, step one's gonna be, we're gonna inspect it. The letter's already gone to Doug Napier, I'm sorry.
I just wondered, Joe, is there any way we can, if we do get it back, then maybe we can turn it into, offices and stuff for town? I mean, I don't know how cramped you guys are down here, but definitely, if we got it back, we want to put it to good use.
Well, I think, okay, that's a good point. So in other words, inspection, resolution, number two would be resolution, meaning either Burris, or the owner's gonna, either he's going to uphold his end of the contract, or the town government decides to do something. And then the third is with to determine the use, and the fourth is determine what our plan is as far as moving forward. So
What was number two? I'm sorry.
two would be, encourage the current owner to abide by the contract. Contract enforcement.
Contract enforcement, yep.
Doug, how long is that contract enforceable?
It really is enforceable for, the contract terms run with the land, so it's basically enforceable forever.
So it's good,
Yeah,
because I know we had an option after 5 years to do that, we haven't done anything with that.
he hasn't done anything with it either.
No.
I don't see him doing anything with it. I think we had the same issue with the Eddie Avenue. I mean, and then he wouldn't reply. I mean, it was just, and I would say the same thing here.
Well, Doug sent him a letter. He's been asking for an inspection. We haven't gotten the right response, so we gave him 3 dates and said on the third day, we're gonna use whatever means necessary to get in the building, and not any means necessary. Let me rephrase that. Joe with the crowbar.
Cover it, Doug, I'm going in.
He'll file whatever paperwork necessary to get into the building.
Hand grenade. Okay.
You good with that?
Yeah, so really.
I'll take ownership of that until I leave.
Everything is like clearly.
Take it.
That means you'll get it done before you leave, then, right?
Yeah, yes. I don't have much to talk about. Just my mother, I'm still here.
Sorry.
Property maintenance. We really gonna get into this discussion at 8:37?
No.
Well, I mean, I was planning on wrapping it up at 8:40 with some follow-up and revisit everything. But with that thought in mind, we still have property maintenance, workforce housing, Valley Health pilot, and parking meters.
Let's just get right to the parking.
We can cross off parking meters. No one wants parking meters.
There,
We saw
All right,
something.
is that right? Everyone's.
I saw a lot of traffic on Facebook today.
Yeah.
Parking meters
No
are.
parking meters.
All right, so we're gonna scratch parking meters?
Mhm.
Okay.
So.
So- Under property maintenance, if we're gonna discuss this. Yeah, I guess I can go ahead and say it. So, I had an idea on these blighted buildings. Is that part of it?
Mhm.
Wait, so we're gonna go into this discussion then?
Are we? Doesn't work?
We start this, we're
Well,
gonna do it.
you know, I
Or the other
think,
postponent?
this is very important to council, and I recognize that, but I think that we'd be doing it injustice if we started this conversation at 20 to 9 and
Yeah.
wanted to end at 9. Because I really do believe there's a lot of talk that needs to
Because we
happen
talked about
here.
putting 1 or 2 of these goals on our future work sessions to start discussing. So let's decide this.
Okay.
Which 2 goals do you want to discuss at our next work session?
Property maintenance, for
Property
sure.
maintenance,
And I guess we could do some workforce housing. Just the next two on the list, I guess.
Well, we also have down underneath, you got reduced town but government expense,
Okay.
discussion, public relations, communications, marketing, Steel Street, fleet management.
I have something to give you on public relations communications.
If we're gonna be talking budgetary type stuff, because I think you're gonna be some direction, then obviously government expenses.
I tend to agree. So we'll do 14 and 1 for the next meeting. And then the second one.
And I think fleet management plan can just come out in the capital request during the budget period. I mean, I think it's just gonna be,
That's already been discussed.
right,
I mean, I can,
here's the plan and.
I can give you an update if you like.
Not now, but workforce housing. I tell you what I want to hear. I want to hear about this Valley Health pilot. So because that's an income, could be an income
Yeah.
producer, right?
Yep.
So can we do that the
That's a
second
good
meeting?
idea.
Doug, do you think you'd be
discuss
good for that
one
too?
on,
And whatever what you see would be here.
what's the
You're not gonna-
September 2nd, I think?
Well, just Joe, just get Joe. Tell Joe which one.
I'll be
Is
gone.
that the date?
That's the next work
That's
session.
perfect.
Right.
It'll be the next work session.
So, yeah.
All right, so we'll do those three. We'll do property maintenance, Valley Health pilot, and town government expenses next work session.
On September 2nd. Got it.
Can the property maintenance maybe hit the following?
No.
Oh, because you want to be part of that
I would
one?
like to be a part of that conversation.
All right, so we got Valley Health on second,
Valley Health and reduced government expense.
Mhm.
and then you want to do public relations? Do you care about that right now? So Latasha will do that one.
Yeah.
So we'll do Valley Health pilot, reduced town government expense, public relations.
Yes, still abstaining.
Doug, can you get something to us on that pilot for the health? Valley Health pilot? I know you talked to somebody before. You ready to give us something?
The other thing I wanted to, I thought we were going to cover it under one of these other sections, but I want to talk about our tap fees.
Okay.
So can we put that on the next work session as well?
September 2nd.
Is that possible?
Yeah, actually, I am ready to come and talk about tap fees. You've given that task to us 30, 45 days ago.
Yeah.
We're ready, so I can put it on September 2nd, and we can have a full discussion on it. Staff's ready. We're just running out of dates, because the 26th is stacked with CHA. I really don't want to put a lot on there, so September 2nd,
Thanks, Simon.
we can discuss that.
Y'all good with that?
Yeah, that's fine.
It's another 4 hours.
All right, you want to wrap up?
Yeah, let me wrap up. Wanted to go through these goals one more time, make sure everybody's in concurrence.
Good.
Okay. Happy Creek area. Goal 1 is develop a plan to improve scoring for funding of Happy Creek Phase 2 by October 30th.
Okay.
Gary's going to champion that.
What's this one?
We're going to establish a committee to address plan, P&D and subdivisions ordinances by September 30th. With an alternate committee, we'll provide a report by January 30th, 2020. Chris and Jeremy are on this one. Pedestrian safety. Bill's taking the lead on pedestrian safety, where we're currently working on South Street. We got the revenue sharing for the lights on North Shenandoah. As one of the big goals coming out of here, we're going to reevaluate the South Street plan by September 30th. Tasha's going to take the lead on that. We're also going to develop a safety plan for Crowfoot near the soccer fields by September 19th. We're going to address what we can do down there for traffic calming measures, as well as we'll investigate the speed bumps and rumbled strips. Tasha's going to take the lead on that. All right, I&I issues. Chris, you're going to champion this. We're going to develop an overall plan to address the I&I issues by the end of the year. A plan of action and alternative work such as in-house. Health insurance. Jake, you're going to champion this. We're going to issue an RFP for healthcare services within 30 days.
If you don't mind, if you just send me a copy, I'll
Yep.
proofread it.
Okay, great. Afton Inn, we're going to develop an action plan to redevelop the Afton Inn by September 15th. Matt, you're going to champion that.
I'm going to need BJ part of that as well. BJ's going to have to be part of the afternoon.
Water service capacity for the corridor. Determine water capacity improvements for the additional service in the corridor by, we didn't put a date there.
Before, I mean, that's gonna have to be sooner rather than later, right? Because the water capacity at least, because of Crooked Run.
Well, they've already got the water capacity.
Yeah, we've got the water
that done.
capacity. I think I can have this done by the end of the month. I was really angling for having everything done by August 26th because I thought we were going to be, it was probably the next available day for Crooked Run. But I will put that as a
Yeah,
date.
I got a phone call from the manager who said that they don't know when they're gonna be ready to come to council. Apparently, they're completely reconsidering their options, which is good.
All right, so I'm going to put
Gary's the champion.
August 26th. And who's the champion? Gary?
Gary.
All right.
I think he's got voted in for that.
We got to see if somebody's been getting missed at.
Is that good?
What is Bill Thompson?
I'm on there for a couple of
All
things.
That's why we reviewed to make sure we got everything square. Project budgets. Gene's going to champion this. We're going to develop an overall project list with cost and time schedules by September 30th. All right. Old Town Hall. Matt is going to sponsor this, champion it. We're going to inspect the property by August 30th with we're going to contract enforcement, use, and try to help future plan of development of that property or
And
future
I'll be
use.
working closely with Nathan on that one. He knows that.
Infrastructure. T. Walt's going to champion that. Going to develop an overall infrastructure plan with cost estimates by September 30th. Short-term, long-term, include curb and gutter. We're going to look at developing funding alternatives to implement the plan by the end of October, so it gives us about 30 days. EDA. We really didn't develop any goals because there's a lot of things going on already right now. The EDA Reform Committee, which Jake is most likely going to chair or at least be the point for us. Doug Napier on the lawsuit and project financing, BJ. Very good. I think that's it. Yep. And like I said, I will provide a summary of this to council tomorrow.
Joe, that is a nice job. You made it through
Perfect.
quite a bit in a very
Yeah.
little amount of time. That was excellent facilitation.
Yeah, thank you, Joe. I know
Thank you.
this has been, staff's put a lot of time and effort. You know, I tell you what I'm really excited about. Having been an outsider, now coming on the inside, I'm just really pleased with the way I see things moving forward as far as a planning perspective and execution of work. And so I just wanted to commend, please pass that on next staff meeting, how happy we are. You know, we have always room for improvement. I think we're definitely making a lot of progress. So we haven't had a real recap of the joint meeting to speak of from the EDA. Just want to take this opportunity to say how I was just super excited. I think it was a very productive meeting. You know, I think a lot of things need to be said and aired out. I was very pleased they allowed us to not only ask the questions, but made an attempt to give us answers. We were planning to have a joint meeting with the EDA and the Board of Supervisors. It was scheduled for the 27th. An EDA member contacted me and said, "Is that hard set in stone?" And I said, "Well, not as far as I'm concerned, but I can't make unilateral decisions." Apparently 2 EDA members are going to be missing that meeting. Considering that we haven't had the first meeting yet with anyone, we may want to push that into the September 2nd week. How do y'all feel about that?
I won't be here that week, but here's the thing. I thought that the board of supervisors, town council, everybody checked their calendars at that meeting.
Without the EDA.
But is it
Weren't
Doug
they
who's gonna be missing?
Doug Parsons?
Yeah.
No, it's 2 members. So you want to go ahead and have it?
Well, what is the likelihood that we're gonna get
A meeting where everybody can be present?
everybody's gonna be there? Just like if you have to move to the second.
Video, so.
If you happen to move to the second, that's fine. I won't be there. But, I mean, that's my point is you're gonna hit every single day.
I know all the council members and all the board of supervisors members were good with the 27th. So again, I think that's another meeting. I think they want to do their presentation to us that they had planned. I think we have an opportunity to ask more questions. So I'm good with keeping it at 27th. I just wanted, I'm relaying information. Joe, did you have any input on that?
No.
So would you send a message, would you mind, I guess Jennifer, would you mind notifying Doug Stanley and Doug Parsons that we're apologetic, I guess, that.
Matt, to be clear though, if that, moving into that week works for everybody else, it's certainly not making the schedule.
I need
for
you
me.
at that, you gotta
So-
be, you're chairing the committee, I need you at that meeting, the joint meeting. So you've gotta be there.
Jennifer, the responses for the scheduled meeting on that, are they coming back for the second date and time or the first date and time?
Most of them are for the Thursday.
Oh, okay.
We are gonna miss one of the Dougs for each of the dates.
I understand that.
It's gonna be hard.
When Joey Martin went in to change the dates.
I don't
She's got 2 dates.
know that we can't miss one of the Dougs. I think they both need to be there.
What's the
There's
test?
3 Dougs, actually.
Which Dougs?
Not our
We
dog.
will, our Doug is available anytime or place.
And Doug Stanley?
Is not available for Tuesday. Mr. Parsons is not available for the Thursday.
Thursday or Monday?
Monday, I mean. Mr. Parsons is available for Thursday. Mr. Stanley is not available for Thursday.
Okay.
So,
we could hit the Monday the 26th then, and we'd miss Doug Parsons.
Correct.
And I think we should shoot for that time, and that'll be the Monday before the Tuesday meeting if it does happen on Tuesday.
so the information I'm getting now is that the EDA was gonna request September 10th.
Okay.
Do you have any
May
information on
not
that?
be a bad idea that allows this committee to get a foothold.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not a race, really.
No,
I don't
no,
think
we
it
wanna
is
do
a
it right.
race. Yeah.
And I wanted to afford them the opportunity to, look, candidly, I just wanted to keep momentum at that last meeting. So if we have to do this kind of adjustments, I'm fine with it. Are you say the
Okay.
10th?
Joey Martin tentatively set the 10th and the next following week. Now, I don't know if she was gonna get back with the EDA board and the others, and so far apparently she hadn't contacted him. But she talked to the girl, because I was down there when she talked to them.
Okay.
That's fine. I agree with.
So Jennifer, would you contact the EDA and the county and find out what dates they wanted to modify it, and let's try to circle that around. And if it is the 10th, I'm supposed to speak at the Chamber of Commerce meeting at 5 o'clock that day. I could probably make it by 6. Wouldn't be a problem with that.
6 is better for most of this group too. I
Yeah.
think they're commuting or driving.
Okay, guys, we covered a whole lot. Anything else to come before council this work session? Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, motion carries.